Hey folks, welcome back to the channel here at Mark Kelly Farms. We've got an exciting video for you today. We had a company called Garvey reach out to us to try one of their products, and we told them we'd be happy to do a review for them, so they sent it out to us, and we'll showcase that product for you today, so stick around. So we got the tractor out, we got the product right here. It's their Clamp-On Quick Spade for tractors and skid steers and stuff like that. And you'll have to excuse some of the scratches because this thing is super heavy. They delivered it over on the driveway and it was already busting out of the box, and we have a lot of that problem with FedEx here because when we receive stuff, the packaging is totally toast. And it was already busted out of the box, and we dumped it out onto the concrete slab over here, and we had to go get the tractor to pick this thing up because I didn't want to carry it over here because it's so heavy. Very, very heavily made steel here. Probably, I don't know, 3/16 to 3/8 steel. It's heavy stuff. But that's how we got the scratches over in the concrete driveway. So what this thing does is it clamps on the end of your bucket and creates a spade effect to where you can dig in the ground without using the full width of your bucket, which decreases the surface area that you're putting on the ground, which enables you to dig a little easier. So we're going to give this thing a try. This spade is set up with a forklift pocket also, so you can put a forklift fork in here and screw it down with these two bolts here to keep it on your forklift fork. Now I will tell you, I'm not a big fan of clamp-on attachments, but we wanted to give this thing a try. So we'll go ahead and clamp this thing here on the bucket, and we'll get her going. Okay, we've got the Quick Spade clamped onto the middle of our bucket here because we don't want to tweak it on either side. We want all the pressure right in the middle. I don't know if you can see, but clamping on the bucket, that bracket starting to bend up there a little bit, so that's causing me concern. Even though they put a gusset underneath there, that's still a long ways for a lot of leverage on there. So we've got it on here. I do like the fact that they've rounded this edge because that decreases your surface pressure on the ground when you go to poke this thing in, kind of like a round shovel as opposed to a square shovel. This will dig in better than just a straight edge. So we're going to go give this thing a try. Now it just so happens we have a tree here that we need to remove because it's just not thriving. So that should be the perfect application for this Clamp-On Quick Spade. So let's get over here with the tractor and let's see if we can dig this thing out. All right, back over here we put a tape measure on this thing. It's actually 3/8 of an inch thick, so crazy heavy. I know is all I could do to put that thing on the bucket. All right, let's get her done. Okay, well, that test did not last long. You could see how this bracket bent, which allowed this to loosen up and fall off. So that's not going to work. And I think even if we tighten these down some more, we're not going to get tight enough and it'll just bend again. So I would call that a fail. Now, looking at this, if you were to try this on pallet forks, you're so far out already on pallet forks, and if you put this thing clear out on the end, it's super heavy. I don't think it's going to be very effective because your tractor's not going to have enough roll function because you're so far out there, so much leverage, it's not going to be able to tilt it. Like these compact tractors, there's nowhere near enough. This thing's so big, I don't believe it's even for a compact tractor, but we thought we'd give it a try. It's so big and heavy that maybe it'd be more adapted to skid steer, which would make sense. And but even with a skid steer, if you were to clamp it on the bucket like we did, a skid steer has literally 10 times more power than these little compact tractors. So that would bend even easier. You'd probably horseshoe that thing clear out of there with a skid steer. So I think we got a fail on our hands right here, folks. That's the problem with most clamp-on attachments. You've got such a small area that you're clamped to, you're either going to bend the implement or you're going to tweak your bucket. So I think there's something we can do with this though. So even though we can't probably use it in its current state, I think we can make this thing usable. We just need to get around this whole clamp-on thing we have going on here, which I believe caused it to fail. I mean, they tried to gusset it in here, but you've got from here to here to bend, so don't know how that would work. But we got another idea. So I've got these John Deere quick detach plates that we purchased for another project, but we can always get more. So we're going to try to use these and build something that would go off the quick attach and not clamp on, that we could use. So we've got the quick spade in here on my little mobile table. So this thing is so long, creates a lot of leverage. We are, from the end of the bucket, we're like almost 3 feet long. So I think we're going to cut this thing down in length, maybe to that point there, and that puts it just a little over 2 feet, and I think that'll be fine for a spade. So we're just going to cut this whole thing off here, straight cut, all the way across. Had to go get our 50-pound weight to hold this thing down because it wanted to tip off the table. Got our line drawn on here. We're going to use the plasma to cut this piece off. Okay, we got it cut off. We have to clean that up a little bit. Had to go super slow because that plasma doesn't want to cut through that really thick material. It's made more for sheet metal, but we got her done as long as you go slow. Thing is much, much lighter now. Look how much we cut off of that. That's pretty heavy down there. So that's either going to go to scrap or we'll find some other use for that. So this is much more manageable. So now we need to build a frame to mount this to. So let's see what we got. We've got a couple pieces of this 3x4 angle, which I think will be really good for our frame. Nice and heavy. Got a good heavy wall thickness to it. So we need to cut out, make kind of a rectangular frame for our quick attach brackets to mount to. So we'll go out and measure our bucket, see how wide and tall we need to be. Our tractor frame is 47 inches from center point to center point. So we want to go on the outside of this. So you figure to the middle of that point is 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches on both sides. We want to go 3 inches bigger, which would be 50 inches wide. So why don't we cut 2 of those at 50 inches. And then we don't need this bottom pin because that's for a bigger tractor. So from that top pin, we're about 16 inches on center. So we'll cut them 18 inches long for the side pieces. So 50 inches and 18 inches. The best tool for this is our cold saw. So we're going to whack this thing. We've got it marked at 50 inches. Got all 4 of our pieces cut. So now the way these are going to fit together on either one, either the long piece or the short piece, we need to cut 4 inches out of one side of the web, be the long side, the 4-inch side. So 4 inches from this way. That way our piece will nest right in here and we can weld right around here instead of doing like a 45. Got our 4 cuts made. On the cold saw over there, we were just able to cut down and stop. So, but we can't cut this one with the cold saw because it's got to go in sideways. We've already got the plasma set up, so we'll just take the plasma, we'll burn it right along here, cut all 4 of these pieces off. Here's how our frame fits together, just like that. So we've able to get this thing tacked together now. Now because we're outside of the edge here, we're going to be just one thickness over 50 inches, but that'll be fine because that'll allow us to get a good corner weld on the outside of that bracket. So we'll get this squared up, we'll get it clamped in place so it can't move around. We'll get it tacked, and then we'll get the other end put in here. We'll be good to go. Okay, we're all tacked together and we are pert near exactly square. So we can go ahead and weld this puppy up. Okay, we've got our brackets flush with the end of this one, which was 50 inches on both sides. We've put a square in here off of this top piece, so we know we're square with at least one piece, in case this thing's whoppy jobber. And then we have 47 inches from point to point, which is perfect. And then we've got the correct measurement here and here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tack these in place, and then we'll take it over to the tractor, make sure it fits before we come over here and weld it all up. Well, we've got a good fit side to side. You can see our pin is centered. Problem is, it won't go all the way in because it's rubbing on the top. So what we have to do is we have to come up here on our new bracket. We have to shave a little bit out of here on all 4 sides, which will allow this to sit down a little further, and those pins will come right in. Okay, after shaving some off the top, our pin dropped right in. We're able to get our clip in there. So now that it fits good, we can take it over, finish welding this thing up, and we can mount the spade to it. Got this side all welded up all the way around that bracket. Got the metal cleaned up, so we'll stand it up, weld the tops, clean the tops up, weld these corners, flip it over, do the same thing. Before we weld this side, I have the plasma out. We'll cut these tabs off here that we don't need. We don't need these pins, and then we can weld along here. We got the spade welded on front and back all the way around. So there's still going to be a lot of leverage on this thing even though we shortened it. So we'll take these two leftover pieces that we had from cutting all these pieces, and we'll slide them right up in here, and we'll weld these all the way around, and it'll give more support here in the corners as well. So that's going to help out. And yeah, I could cut these in too, and so they would sit down in there further, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's not necessary. We can just weld these all the way around, they'll be fine. Okay, we got this thing all welded up, but you can see it's dark outside. So we can't show it to you tonight, so we'll see you in the morning. Okay, folks, next day. Looks pretty beefy, don't it? We're going to give it a shot. We've got it a little shorter, so there's not so much leverage on that. And instead of being on the front of the bucket, it's back on the actual loader frame. So we've got a lot more curl force that way. It's not working against us. So we're going to go give this thing a try. I'm excited. Well, I don't know about you, but I would qualify that as a success. I intentionally pried the heck out of the ground with that thing, shoved it almost straight into the ground, moved it around. We didn't bend this thing. We didn't even tweak it. You can still see this thing's nice and straight. There's no bends, no nothing. It's plenty stout. We put it through a little abuse there. Even smacked the tree with it, knocked it right over. I think that's going to be a real useful tool now that it's beefed up. Anything that's going to be used on a tractor needs have a little heft to it. You can see we were able to pop that tree out of the ground. We can dig new tree holes with it. We can even trench with this thing, just go along. If the ground's soft enough, we can just angle it down and just push through and make a trench. Go deeper and deeper if we need to. But yeah, I like it. So I want to thank Garvey for sending this thing out for us to try. I hope they take my video here and go back to the drawing board, make something that's a little bit tougher that they can sell. I don't think it would be that much more expensive. We don't have a lot of metal into this, a lot of welding, but it doesn't take much to beef it up, just a little bit more. We have a discount code for Garvey if you want to check out some of their products. We'll put the link in the description down here. They've got forestry products and all kinds of other stuff that looks like it would do just fine. This was the only thing, that looked... like I said, I don't like much clamp-on stuff, even the clamp-on forks. It's just, you're so far out there and there's so much leverage. you really got to have quite a machine. And then when you got a bigger machine, you've got much more power and you're more apt to bend something. So go check them out. We got a discount code you can use, MARK10, M-A-R-K 10, if you want to get a discount on any of their items. So all that's left is shoot a little paint on this thing, get a little Rust-Oleum on it, and she'll be ready to go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you come back and see us again here real soon on Mark Kelly Farm. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. We'll see you soon.